Hello, everybody. All right. Can you guys all remember where you guys were in February of 1986? Don't tell me you weren't alive. That makes me feel very, very bad. Anyway, look, I was a senior in college, about to graduate, staring down a very responsible, very sensible path towards medical school. My future seemed really mapped out, predictable, practical. And then The Dark Knight Returns came out. And somewhere between midterms and med school applications, that book flew through my dorm room window, smacked me square in the head like a lightning bolt. Sorry, that's wrong character. But this book growled. It said, criminals are a superstitious, cowardly lot. And as Frank and Klaus are my witnesses, I must become a comic book artist. Not a terribly fast one. Certainly not the most reliable, but absolutely, undeniably, this is what I had to do. This book didn't just change Batman, it didn't just change comics, it changed my life. And I would not be standing here in front of you all today as president of DC Comics without it. And I suspect by the clip we just saw, I'm not alone. I'm pretty sure about 90% of the modern comic book industry can trace some part of their origin story back to those incredible 4 volumes. But enough about my accidental origin story. Let's bring out the creative team behind the seminal work that redefined a character, revitalized an art form, and reminded the world just how powerful and revolutionary comics can be. Please join me in welcoming the architects of that lightning bolt moment, Mr. Frank Miller and Klaus Janson.
Thanks a lot.
That was 40 years worth of applause that you all just got there. My name is Larry Gale. I work at DC Comics. They've asked me to moderate this because you don't want to leave these 2 guys alone because you never know what they're going to create. We have about 25 minutes to cover the greatest graphic novel of all time. This should be a 4-part documentary series on HBO Max or Netflix, but we've got 20. I'm sorry, too soon. We've got 25 minutes. So as you know, this is the 40th anniversary. DC is celebrating the 40th anniversary in a number of ways. It all begins here at ComicsPro. Just a quick recap of what we'll be doing. You probably know this already because you're great retailers. There'll be facsimile editions of Dark Knight starting this month. Every month, each issue, so you'll be able to see it as it was originally presented. There will be a variant cover celebration this summer. We'll be having some of the greatest artists in comics, other than Frank and Klaus, doing some Dark Knight-inspired variant covers. And in April 7th, there will be a compact comics edition of Dark Knight Returns hitting the stands. So I know we're having great success with the compact comics. They've been a sales success. We've been saving the Dark Knight until we had the routine down pat. So that'll be coming out in April 7th. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about this great graphic novel. We're gonna, like I said, we have a short time. Our goal here is to tell you some stuff that you may not already know about this graphic novel. I know you've all read it probably several dozen times. So our goal here is to tell you stuff that you don't know. Actually, Matt, what's the special Dark Knight gift we're giving away?
So everybody is going to get a ComicsPro exclusive variant cover for the facsimile of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns #1.
Frank, Klaus, can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna throw up some stuff there, and I'm gonna ask you some questions, and I want unfiltered. We're all adults here, unfiltered, and information on some of these things. Okay, so Frank, first questions for you. Matt, let's see the first letter. Okay, the
Yeah.
one of the greatest covers of all time. So take us back. We're in the mid '80s, '83, '84. You guys wrap up your run on Daredevil. In '84, you did Ronin,
Yeah.
which was probably ahead of its time. When you came to DC to pitch your Batman story, what was the pitch?
Well, it's well, I told editor-in-chief Dick Giordano and publisher Jeanette Kahn that what I had in mind was I wanted to do a Batman story that introduced a concept to superheroes that kind of superheroes hadn't really seen, which was time. And I said, you know, that the audience it was no longer just a bunch of little kids, and that it would be. I wanted to see what would happen if the hero became as old as his legend. And so I picked, to me at the time, was the astonishingly old age of 50. As I was 29, about to turn 30, and I thought, boy, 50, forget about it. and everything pretty much sprang from that idea. After that, I just thought, how about casting this mythical superhero into a world that much more recognized the world around me? Because this was 1980s New York City. Gotham was always New York City. And New York City in the 80s was a pretty rough town. And a very unhappy city. That you know, a lot of people on the West Coast said New York was over. And so there's a lot of despair and so on. From that point, I simply worked at reconstructing Batman and getting rid of all the useless junk that had accumulated to the legend, but keeping the cool stuff. I ended up keeping a lot more stuff than I intended, because there were ways to twist it around and make it much cooler. Or some stuff was just a lot niftier than I expected. When I began, I never thought there would be a Robin. A colleague, John Byrne, as a matter of fact, suggested that I put Robin in and I made Robin a girl.
So that was John Byrne's idea?
It was his idea to make Robin a girl, yeah. And I set about creating Terry Kelly. And the whole thing started really rushing together, because all of a sudden there was a bright spot in Batman's dark world, and all of a sudden this middle-aged superhero had a fatherly aspect, and then I knew the Joker and Two-Face, some of the other fun ones. But I didn't realize how much I delved into DC's universe. I also knew from the beginning that it was going to climax in a battle with Superman. Because when I was a child, I'd see World's Finest comics come out. Even then, I went, this is crazy. These guys would never like each other. And knew I could build toward the crescendo of the animus between them. So it just grew and grew and grew. And it was really a time of where the material seemed to write itself, the pictures seemed to compose themselves. And Klaus and I, as we had on Daredevil, found ourselves working at rather frightening speed because we were having such a good time.
Klaus, when did Frank bring you into this?
I was walking down the hallway at DC one day. I had either come to pick up stuff or drop off work. But Dick Giordano was walking down the hallway toward me. We were walking toward each other. And he was his usual jovial self. I mean, I loved him. And I was always very, very happy to see him. And he stopped in the hallway and we, said hi to each other. And he looked at me with a grin. And he said, Frank is doing a Batman project. Would you like to ink it? And this was about 2 years after Daredevil, and I thought the two of us did amazing work on Daredevil. And it took me literally 3 or 4 seconds to say, yeah. Yeah, that was it. It was short and sweet, and I think pages started coming in pretty quickly. You had already penciled probably a whole handful of pages at that time, right?
Yeah, it was a mess of a handful. I can comment on that because the first batch of pages, I was a ways into the story and I realized that I plotted a very dense story. 3 times denser than anything I'd ever done before. And I would never have room enough for it. And so I, much like a filmmaker would, only using cruder tools, I started taking a pair of scissors and cutting my pages up, my pencil pages up, and taking images out. And then I turned a bunch of pages into about half what they were, and taped them from the behind. And so the first pages that Klaus received had all the structural integrity of toilet paper.
It was like inking an accordion.
Klaus, when you took the job, did you know that there were going to be 16 panels on a page?
I did not. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't have made any difference. I would have. Listen, I love collaborating with Frank. There's no doubt that I think that we did some amazing work on both Daredevil and Dark Knight. I'm trying to talk him into doing a third one. We'll let you know how that goes. But 16 panels, 20 panels, it doesn't matter.
20 panels, it doesn't matter. Frank, take a look at the page on the screen. This is the first page of issue 1.
Yeah.
There is a yeah, it was a great page. There is a line in this. Bruce is crashing his car, and there was a line in this that really struck everybody. It said, "This would be a good death." What is Bruce's mindset at the beginning of this?
At the beginning of Dark Knight, Bruce Wayne is pondering the end. He's been retired for 10 years. The fact is he had stopped being Bruce Wayne when he was a little boy. He was Batman through and through. He was this masked avenger. That was his true identity. And so now he was an older rich guy with a lot of fun tools, and who was taking bigger and bigger risks and getting closer and closer to a death wish. You notice the parallel line, of course, is at the very end of the series.
Yes.
Where he says this would be a good life.
Yes. That's one thing I was hoping we were going to be able to reveal. I don't know if we'll get to issue 4 at this point, but everybody keep that in mind when you read the book tonight. First page, this would be a good death, and what's the last page say?
This would be a good life, good enough.
Matt, what's the next slide? This, you called out the other day because just showing the pure energy of the bat, and you know, everybody knew that I will be a bat. There's a bat, you know, the original Detective 27. I will become a bat. This is where you said you wanted to amp up that moment a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit behind the thinking here?
Well, it's everything about the series, everything about my intentions about Dark Knight was to establish him as a mythological figure, and so that he didn't just put on a bat suit to look scary to a bunch of criminals. I wanted him to be basically being inhabited by a demonic force. And so I had the bat. I made the bat a character that appeared throughout my Batman work, I felt again added to the mythology and the depth of the character.
We were talking the other day, take a look at this page, about how often the humor in Dark Knight is overlooked.
Yeah.
Alfred in Dark Knight is the most hilarious figure in the world. But again, this is a moment where maybe people don't know. The cab driver in this scene, I mean, this scene is relatively on its own. The cab driver in the scene, what'd you base that on? Everybody look at the face of that cab driver. Anybody know who that is?
Okay, well, here's the thing about comics. is they are a collaborative medium. And one of the nice things about a collaborative medium is you can always blame the person next to you for something. Now, I had drawn simply a nondescript cab driver, but a certain other artistic person, say on the book, whose name need not be mentioned, thought it might be nice to make a certain other artist squirm his cheek and actually just happened by accident to turn the cab driver into a dead ringer for Walter Simonson.
There's something I hope you didn't know. The cab driver in DKR is Walt Simonson.
Look, when I got the pages, it looked like Walter to me. I mean, who am I to say it's not Walter Simonson? And so I feel like, hey, I did my job, and it's Walter Simonson now forever.
I've got to add to that at the time, I was sharing studio space with Walter Simonson. So perhaps the muse was speaking.
Go to the next one. Well, okay, we're into issue 2. Go to the next slide, please. Tell us a little bit about Carrie Kelly. How much do you like Carrie Kelly?
I love Carrie Kelly. She won my heart over from the get-go. She started out, the character was Lotus. Now I got a lot of the jargon that she had, that strange speech, strange, way she and the mutants talk to each other. That was based on a childhood banter that colors Lynn Farley and her brothers and their childhood friends used. I took it to new places, but there was, this is essentially the basis of it. But I love the idea of basically of someone who had Bruce Wayne's talent and genius, but none of his trauma going along. And someone who didn't have the bitterness and the anger and was not I mean, she didn't, her parents weren't murdered, they were just a couple of potheads. I mean, I didn't even bother to show them. There were just word balloons from a panel and some pot smoke floating across the page. She became the bright spot, just like she did, just like the Boy Wonder did originally, to leaven up what could be the relentless grimness of the character.
Let's see the next slide.
You might say there was an old slogan they used to have in the U.S. military where they would show, family and friends and that sort of thing. They'd say, "What we're fighting for." Well, she was what we're fighting for.
You'd say she's the sort of the heart of the story, Bruce and Carrie's relationship. I don't know why the mic hates
I
me.
think God just said something, I'm not sure. But I think that it's a complex story. But she certainly is an essential element.
When we were talking the other night, you referred to it, Dark Knight, as operatic.
Yeah.
That seemed, you stand by that?
Oh yeah, I mean it's broken into 4 very distinct acts. It's very huge in scope, and much like a Wagner opera or a Wagner, like the Ring or something, it's got gods in conflict. So yeah, it's very operatic.
For both of you, do you think that's why it stands the test of time? We're still talking about it 40 years after?
All right, I'll give my answer. I think that it stands the test of time because a lot of people really enjoyed the hell out of it, and new people do as well. It's one of those times where everything went right.
Klaus, would you agree with that?
I think Frank has a good way of saying that the story was perfect. It was. I had the opportunity to reread it when we started working on Master Race with Andy Kubert and Brian Azzarello, and I was really taken aback by how good this story is. And it's as close to perfection as I think Frank and I can come to producing a work that obviously has withstood the test of time. And I couldn't be more enthusiastic about it, more grateful about it, and still excited by the content and by the story itself. It's really, really good, and Frank did an amazing job.
Right back at you.
We're going to run out of time very quickly. Boy, that would have been a good way to end this. But we're not ending there. Klaus, there's an Easter egg on this page. I don't know which one of you is behind it or not.
What?
Okay, it was Klaus who was behind it.
I plead the fifth, but I'll say in panel 3, we're talking about how dark the character Batman can be and how serious the story is. But in panel 3, I threw in Matt Murdock walking away from the crowd. And if you take a look at panel 3 closely, you'll see him with his glasses and with his cane walking toward the panel border. And, what do you want me to say?
The good news about this is that because this has been revealed now, and because nobody can do anything about it, DC Comics now owns Daredevil.
Let me say, it's someone who looks like Matt Murdock.
Our attorneys advised us to say, please note the visually impaired young professional walking across the street. Oh well, okay, so there we go. We owned it. Klaus, this page, this is the story of the woman on the subway.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about this, I think, just to jump, to me, this story about, I believe her name is Margaret Corcoran, represents the pinnacle of Frank's ability to not only write an incredible one-page story that has a beginning and a middle and an end, but also to design a page and lay out a page that will absolutely tear at your heartstrings. And you know, I tell Frank occasionally that it's the Irish in him that at least partly makes him as good a writer as he is, because this page is poetry as far as I'm concerned. It's absolute poetry, and it is among my favorite pages on the book. There are many more, but this is one that impressed me. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Frank, this is, we're in issue 2 here, and this is a tragic story. It does not end well, this particular story.
Yeah.
But when we get to issue 4, and you had mentioned the other day, this is part of the journey. There are stories that start out like this, but then end up hopeful and end up happy.
Right, yes.
The Jim Gordon story when he's looking for his wife amidst that one ends happy. Spoiler, that one ends happy. The priest story, where he's saved by the young kid who was bothering him in the previous story. So what was, I'm guessing here, but please walk us through it. You're showing the effect, the arc of Batman's heroic journey here, and the effect that it has on the people around him.
Yeah, it's the idea is that even though he's a big scared guy who employs terror in his methods, that he's ultimately a figure of hope. And hope is an extraordinarily powerful thing that gives people great strength and resilience. And that Gotham has fallen into horrible decay since he retired. And he comes back and he saves the soul of the city.
This image here, you pointed out as one that was particularly powerful to you. Can you talk a little bit about the image?
Well,
Why you made it so striking, the part it plays in the story itself.
well, a lot of Dark Knight is really about the collapse of trusted institutions. And Batman is setting about, in a way, establishing, imposing a new kind of justice. You know, he's like the reforming sheriff coming into Dodge City and cleaning it up. But part of the among the villainous forces he has encounters with is in this case America's military overreach, and here he was actually routing out Pentagon corruption and confronting an heroic general who committed suicide upon being revealed. And so I wrote it in such a way as to honor the soldiers' military service, but show what a relentless and ultimately ruthless force for justice Batman was.
Throughout this process, in any of it, with images like that, or when you use a figure that looks like Ronald Reagan or anything like that,
Oh, yeah.
did DC or the DC attorneys or anything, did they give you any pushback?
No. by any standards, this is fair game. This is called fair use. There's a legal term for it. It is satire. It is parody. Just as a newspaper cartoonist can draw the President of the United States, a comic book artist can as well. Perhaps it would be different if I'd gone after Ronald Reagan by name and said anything about him that wasn't true. But to do a cartoon evocation of the absurdity of some of his excesses and of course his personality, sorry, he ran for that office. You pays your money, you takes your choices.
We are reaching time. I'm waiting for somebody to give me a signal to get off the stage. But Matt, can we go? Okay, so the Carrie Kelly issue. Oh, there it is. There's the clock. Okay, we're gonna have to skip ahead because we're speaking about Carrie Kelly. No, go all the way ahead, towards the end. A while back, we.
You want something like you're missing right now?
Well, a while back, we talked about. Well, we wanted to end on this, which is perhaps the everyone's favorite image of the entire epic. Tell us about this image. I mean, you told me yesterday that this image was because you wanted to show that comics were fun. Do you stand by that?
Yeah, it was also the term that is often used and frequently abused is sense of wonder. And the idea is to bring about the sense of magic that these characters have. You might remember back in the old Chris Reeve Superman movie. It had the best movie slogan of all time, which was, "You'll believe a man can fly." And in this case, I really wanted you to feel like you happened to be looking out the window and you saw this, and the world just became this magical, wonderful place to be.
So a while back, we announced a young adult novel that was in progress by you and Ben Caldwell, featuring Carrie Kelly. We have some artwork from that. Do you want to talk a little bit about this and I don't know what you're trying to capture in a Carrie Kelly young adult graphic novel?
Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, that's one of Ben's pages.
Oh, man, I don't recognize. Well, in terms of the Carrie Kelly book is okay. Yeah, the Carrie Kelly book is one of those magical opportunities because, for one thing, just to do a book about her is a treat for me. I always loved the character, and to see her operating solo, but still be the very young character we remember from the first Dark Knight, makes it more fun because I'm not exactly known for doing, graphic novels with children as lead characters. And working with Ben Caldwell completes the picture because his stuff is just powered with the energy of children's animation. And so this really is a very, it's an all ages production it features just some of the characters you wouldn't expect me to use. I don't think you expect me to use Killer Croc as a lovable character. Working with Ben, it's just been fun to re-explore Batman's world more from a kid's perspective and making it more to a kid's liking. I've always been a big fan of Paul Dini and Bruce Timm's Batman animated, and I guess this is my chance to sort of tip my hat in their direction as well.
That book will be out in 2027. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. Listen, we all love comics. There are comics that we buy and we read and we enjoy. Every once in a while, there's a comic that comes along that we know is special and that we are thankful for. So on behalf of everybody here, and probably many, many more.
I want to say something.
Okay.
I just want to say, and I know Larry is about to say that, thank you for the last 40 years, and thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.